Yeah, the Zoom link comes from Zoom. I don't know why.
And we will all have our pretty backgrounds probably in January.
Yep.
So we'll look professional then.
Okay, we're live. I'm good to
We're
go.
live. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to call the Clean Energy Alliance Board of Directors special meeting to order. It's December 15th, 2022 at 2 p.m. and we're meeting virtually in the city of San Marcos. So if we might have Board Member Marasco, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance as soon as we see a flag and the pledge on the screen?
Be my pleasure.
Okay.
I don't see the flag, but I'll go ahead and go anyway.
Okay, here we go. I think we've got one going. Well, there we go.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America
and to the republic
for
which
which
stands
it stands one
one
nation,
under
God,
under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Thank you so much. We probably should have done the roll call before we did the flag salute, but that's, we'll do that now. Madam Clerk? Yeah.
Member Musgrove? Member Acosta?
I'm here.
Member Green?
Here.
Member Sanchez?
Present.
Member Morosco?
present.
Vice Chair Drucker? And Chair Becker?
Here,
Present.
Thank you.
Very good. All right, any board comments or announcements today? Seeing no hands up, we were going to have a presentation, but our CAC Chair Dwight Warden was unable to make it today, so we'll have that next time in January. And Madam Clerk, are there any public comments?
We have no request to speak.
All right, so next is the approval of the minutes, and I'll move approval. Do I have a second?
second,
Very good. For the vote?
Member Acosta?
Yes.
Member Morosco?
Aye.
Member Green?
Aye.
Member Sanchez?
I was not here last month, so
Vice Chair Drucker?
yes.
And Chair Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Board
Very good.
Secretary, Susan, I just wanted to note that Board Member Musgrove joined us.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, apologies, a little late and just some trouble connecting, but thank you very much.
Right, so our minutes were approved and we are.
Good to see you. All right, take care.
So let's go on to the consent calendar. We have a couple items on three items on the consent calendar. And would any member of the board like to pull one of those items, or I would entertain a motion to move the approval? Vice Chair Drucker, did you want to hear an update from our regulatory affairs?
Yes, I did want to hear from the regulatory affairs. I'm just looking at there it is.
It's item 2.
Yeah, item 2. So let's pull item 2 and have a brief report by Ty.
That would be great. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then we can just make a motion at the end of that, if that's okay.
Okay.
Member Green, did you have a question before we get started on that?
Oh, I was just going to move to approve the balance of the consent calendar, but we can do it afterwards, I guess.
Okay, let's go ahead and hear from our special counsel, Ty Tosdahl.
Great, thank you, Chair Becker. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I do have, there's a couple of items in your report, but I'm going to share one item today and with you, and that is, of course, today is the date that the CPUC is scheduled to vote out the net energy metering 3.0 or net billing decision. And so it is on the agenda for today at the CPUC. It's not on the hold list. We expect it to go forward today and be voted out. As you recall from our previous discussions, the revised proposed decision in this proceeding revises the export compensation, meaning the amount of compensation that a rooftop solar owner earns on the power that they put back onto the grid. They changed that to reflect what's called the avoided cost calculator. And that calculator is used to determine avoided transmission and distribution costs. It's expected to result in a substantial reduction in export compensation for existing, for rooftop solar owners in general. During our previous discussions, Director Green had asked about what types, what values are we talking about here? What is the magnitude of this change, in, especially in the export compensation? We did do some research into this. We didn't find much. It looked to us like, the utilities and other parties are not being, the complexity of this is such that it's not easy necessarily to forecast what those rates are going to be, because this avoided cost calculator changes each year. And so we did find some analysis from the solar industry. So I want to make sure that we're clear about our source. Their calculations showed that export compensation on average for California rooftop solar owners would be reduced from 30 cents a kilowatt hour to 8 cents a kilowatt hour. So that's a 75% reduction in export compensation. So that's the best we could locate, Director Green, but I wanted to make sure that we got back to you about that. The decision also modifies the transition period for customers who are switching over to this new tariff. It eliminates the grid participation charge, which had been previously proposed, which is a very substantial fixed charge. Would have been about a $45 fixed charge for each month for every rooftop solar owner. That's eliminated from this proposed decision. However, I do want to caution everybody that it is very clear that the utilities are going to pick this issue up in a different proceeding, the demand flexibility proceeding. And the commission was, I think, receptive to developing some fixed charges there. So the fixed charge issue is going to continue on and hasn't been resolved at this point in time. But it does not appear, the CPUC is not going to be establishing new fixed charges as an immediate result of this decision. Now, I think a very natural question to ask is, what does NEM 3.0, which is what the commission is voting on today, versus NEM 2.0 look like? And so just doing some compare and contrast along the major components of the rate, looking at the payback period goal previously for the previous generation or previous group of customers under NEM 2.0, there wasn't an explicit payback period goal. Under NEM 3.0, there's an explicit goal of 9 years that informs a decision and the analysis. Under NEM 2.0, the export compensation was set at the retail rate, meaning the same rate that you pay. Now it's going to be substantially reduced, as we discussed, on average 75% according to the industry. NEM 3.0, and again, NEM 3.0 uses this avoided cost calculator. And this calculator actually provides a value for each hour of the day differentiated between weekdays and weekends. So we're talking about it's sort of a step up in the complexity here that's pretty substantial. Import compensation, meaning what you pay, it was previously set by the customer was required to be on a time of use rate, meaning a rate that fluctuates throughout the day, but they could pick which TOU rate they were on, which I think is a good thing, provides more customer choice, more flexibility. In the revised proposed decision, there's only one rate schedule per utility that you can be on. You're required to be, if you're an SDG&E customer, you're required to be on this rate schedule. Let me pause too. I see that Barbara has a question. Yeah.
You're muted, Barbara.
Thank you. Not a question, but a comment, and that is this particular portion of the presentation with regards to compensation only relates to the SDG&E side of the bill for Clean Energy Alliance customers. Right. So our board still has the ability to maintain the current net energy metering rate offerings for the generation side of the bill. So, and that'll be something that once this is adopted and we have more information, we'll clarify, but this for our customers only affects their transmission and distribution side of the bill. So we still have the ability to set our program related to the energy generation side of the bill.
Yeah, absolutely. None of this directly applies to our customers. Thank you for that, Barbara. This applies only to bundled customers or customers that receive their generation service from the utility. So if you're currently enrolled in CEA, this decision has no impact on you. So I want to be clear about that. Director Green has a question as well.
Yes, sir. I was just trying to make sure that I clarify. So as far as the 75% reduction in the buyback, is it clear for to say that we're gonna not reduce our buyback of 75% if you're currently in the CEA? And then my next question is, the new people coming over to the CEA, are they susceptible to that 8 cents per kilowatt instead of the previous 2.0 kilowatt if they weren't already with the CEA? Or can we say, hey, you're getting better benefit by going to the CEA because we're paying more for your energy?
The first question, Director Green, is above my pay grade.
Okay.
What you all decide is your decision and not mine. The second question, though, I can't answer, and the answer is the second a customer enrolls in CEA, they are free from this new rooftop solar regime, so they don't have to abide by that.
Okay, so as a CEA, we would be making the decision on how we market that and try to attract new customers to come here and what our rate of buyback is per se. We're going to have to make a policy on that in the future, I would assume.
100% correct.
Okay, all right. That's all. Thank you so much, Ty. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no problem. No problem. Dr. Trigger.
Yeah, so the export compensation, would we also have the ability to set that because we're the provider of the energy?
You currently have authority to set export compensation.
And so again, great, thank you.
Yes, Director Sanchez.
A quick question, and this is the opt-out, right? We're not opting in, we're opting out.
Nope. This does not pertain to opting in or opting out customers or
Okay.
programs or anything like that.
Okay, thanks.
I do want to, just getting back to this import compensation question and the rate schedule, I do want to point something out. It made me a little concerned that this decision requires the rooftop solar owners to be on one rate schedule. And the reason for that is it's very easy for the utility to go make a regulatory change to that one rate schedule without many people noticing. And so they can sort of make a change to this rate schedule without a lot of people maybe observing or noticing that. And it could be a meaningful change to rooftop solar rates, but may not attract the necessary attention that it deserves when it's going through the Public Utilities Commission. So it concerned me a little bit that they were not only limiting customer choice here, but these particular rate schedules may be subject to change in the future. In terms of transitional pricing for customers coming over, from previous NEM to NEM 3.0 or some sort of transition period, so some sort of transitional pricing process. There was really nothing in NEM 2.0. In NEM 3.0, there is a transitional schedule that helps, that over time provides a little bit more of a cushion in terms of your export compensation. So there's an export compensation adder. If you enroll in NEM 3.0 in the first 5 years after this tariff is passed, you can take advantage of the ACC plus adder, meaning you get a little bit higher export compensation. If you enroll in NEM 3.0 after year 6 after the tariff is passed, then you don't get any of the cushion. There's no ACC plus adder. The NEM 2.0 did this differently. They handled this through grandfathering and said if you're on previously existing rates, you can stay on them for some amount of time. So there's a different approach to the transition process here. Again, we talked about the rate schedule already. The rate schedules are fixed to, per utility, one rate schedule per utility. The legacy period is the same. The commission recognizes that, if you're on NEM 2.0, you can stay on for 20 years, or if you're on NEM 3.0, you can stay on for 20 years. We've got some questions about whether there was a specific storage rebate. There's no specific storage rebate associated with the revised proposed decision. Looking ahead, there's quite a lengthy implementation process. And so this is not a decision that's going to be implemented immediately. It will take a year to implement. And that is because there are a number of things that still need to be worked out. And so NEM 2.0 is actually going to sunset. And that sunset period is going to begin today. And then you'll see in steps 1 and 2, there are advice letters. I expect those advice letters to be contested by the industry. And by the solar industry. And so I imagine there'll be some back and forth about that. This disposition process will probably be contentious. So there will still be some things to report back about and some just further developments here. In 120 days, the NEM 2.0 sunsets. So you can no longer be part of NEM 2.0 after that. And then within 12 months, IOUs fully implement the net billing tariff. So that's how that works. Any final questions about, that? Yeah, please, Dr. Green.
So sorry.
Please.
No problem. The only thing that was kind of confusing me was that time of use thing that you spoke about, where you say like a consumer gets to pick their time of use. When their peak time of use, they can only pick one, time where it's their
one
peak
schedule.
time. Yeah. And is that going to be the same for our businesses and residential customers? And then when they pick, so two-part question, same for them. And then also once they pick it, will they have the opportunity to switch that if they find that they've chosen the wrong peak time based off of what their usage is? Or how does that work?
Well, CEA can make its own decisions about whether to offer NEM for different types of rate schedules. So let me be clear about that. CEA doesn't necessarily have to follow the commission's direction here. The commission's directing the utilities that they have to offer a rate here that, if they're going to offer this type of rate, they need to restrict the NEM offering to one rate schedule. We don't have to follow that. And so we could provide for more flexibility. Certainly, that would be no problem. And we could provide for switching. And that could be a service that's available to residential and non-residential customers. So
it almost seems like SDG&E is kind of forcing their hand to switch to the CEA based off what I'm reading and seeing. And because the benefits of our CEA and the flexibility we have, whether it's a consumer or a business in this situation, I mean, it's a no-brainer. So this makes it so much easier. I think our opt-outs would be zero. I mean, if this is really the case, and people would be fleeing from SDG&E ASAP once this switches. So I appreciate the clarity on that. It's a really big situation. So thank you.
Sure. I'll just point out to you that CCAs have traditionally offered better export compensation to rooftop solar owners than utilities. That's been the case since the beginning of time, or since the beginning of CCAs.
Just not this much better, right?
Yeah, maybe not this much better, right? But we're not being in a position to offer this much of a benefit, as we are now. That's true. So I just want to point out there is a history of sort of doing a better job than the utilities with this, in my opinion, anyway. Director Tricker had a question as well.
Yeah, so excellent presentation. Really like the chart that shows the differential. Ultimately, though, we don't care, right?
I think, I mean, on some level, we don't care, right? On some level, this is their problem, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And well, for Del Mar, Solana Beach, and Carlsbad, and eventually for Escondido and San Marcos next year, and then finally for Vista and Oceanside. We, in some ways, we no longer are the rate critics, shall we say. That there used to be a whole group of, a paid group that was there to criticize San Diego Gas and Electric. We've been doing that for a while, and eventually we get out of that business because all we care about is the exit fees, shall we say, and which is great. I mean, this is less work for us in terms of having to figure out what the rates look like. So the quicker we can get Escondido and San Marcos on, and Vista and Oceanside, the less we have to worry about SDG&E, except for the distribution. And they're going to, that's where they're going to kill us eventually, is the distribution. They will try to, because that's the only thing they'll have left to make money on, is distribution.
Sounds like we better start talking general rate cases, Director Joker. We will. Yeah. That's where the distribution costs are approved. So we'll also talk about that soon.
Yep. Well, appreciate again the presentation. You're going to make this, you and Barbara are going to make a similar presentation to the City Council in Del Mar, and in January 9th, I believe. And I would probably suggest that all the other councils have this presentation so that their ratepayers can understand, people that with rooftop solar can understand what they're going to look like and why they should change to CEA as soon as the CEA comes up and is available.
Good. All right. Board Member Green's back up.
No more questions. I just moved to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Well, very good. All right. I'll go ahead and second that and we'll call for the vote. Thank you so much for that presentation. That was very helpful.
Appreciate that, Director Becker. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Sanchez,
Yes.
Member Acosta,
Yes.
Member Morosco,
Aye.
Member Green,
Aye.
Member Musgrove,
Aye, and thank you, Ty. Very good presentation.
Vice Chair Drucker,
Yes.
Chair Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. All right, new business. We are on to item number 4. We're going to consider appointments for Clean Energy Alliance Community Advisory Committee for the cities of Oceanside and Vista. I'll turn this back to our Madam CEO.
Thank you, Chair Becker. And we have completed the application process for the Community Advisory Committee nominees for our new member cities, Oceanside and Vista. At this point, it would be appropriate for the City of Oceanside's Board Director Sanchez to nominate their 2 applicants for the board to consider. And I can share who they are if.
Yeah, could you?
Yeah, we have Roger Davenport. And I hope I don't mispronounce his last name too bad. Mo Lasedeze? Mohammed Lasedeze?
Okay, yes.
Those 2 are from Oceanside, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Mo was previously a City of Oceanside employee who was working on this.
Correct.
Yes. And also Roger Davenport has been very, very on top of this. So yes, those are the 2 nominations from the City of Oceanside.
Very good. Their resumes looked very impressive, so we're happy to have them. All right, so that's Oceanside.
All right. And you want me to do Vista?
Yes, please.
All right, so Councilmember Melendez and I interviewed our applicants, and we came up with 2 super good contributors, we think, to this CAC. Nancy Oshley is a community advocate. She was instrumental in writing our climate action plan, and she was one of the Vista climate action planners. They actually made a whole group that wrote the climate action plan, so we're excited to have her. And then Ron Ishii, who is going to be our second recommendation. He worked in the energy sector for over 20 years. And different renewable energies and different energy procurements. So we really think that having the technical and then the community aspect coming in from Vista is going to help connect our clients. So Nancy Oshley, we're recommending for the 3-year term, and Ron Ishii, we're recommending for the 2-year term. So with the board's approval, we would greatly appreciate them being added and having Dwight, their fearless leader, steer them in the right direction. So thank you guys so much.
Very good. All right, is that a motion to approve the CAC nominees for both Oceanside and Vista?
Yes.
All right.
If I'm allowed to make it, I'll make it. Let's go. I'll second it.
And Chair Becker, if we could just have clarification from Oceanside on which nominee will be serving the 2-year term and which will be the 3-year term.
Okay.
So we have Roger Davenport and Mo as have been nominated.
Right, Roger Davenport, the 3-year term, and Mo, the 2-year term.
Thank you.
Right, very good. So we have I think we have a motion and a second, and we can call for the vote.
Thank you. Member Green,
Aye.
Member Sanchez,
Yes.
Member Morosco,
Aye.
Member Musgrove,
Musgrove, aye.
Member Acosta,
Yes.
Vice Chair Drucker,
Yes.
and Chair Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. And if they're
Thank you.
listening online, welcome, and we can't wait to have you join us. And I just wanted to mention, though, Board Member Green, is this your last meeting? Yeah.
Yes, I was going to say something. Unfortunately, I will not be your board member. We have
Oh
two
my
great
gosh.
representatives coming from the city of Vista. So
I
make
just
sure
thought
you
of
hold
it.
them to a high standard and make sure they ask lots of questions. Ty, the information you've given me is going to be crucial for my constituents. And I look forward to Katie and Dan bringing more info back to us as well.
It's been great. It's been great working with you. Yeah.
Yes.
Look forward to connecting with you in the future sometime.
Heck yeah, I'm definitely going to find you guys. You best believe. Thank you.
And thank
All
you.
right, very good. We have one more item, number 5, and consideration of the COVID state of emergency. And do we have anything more to add on this item? That anyone, any questions or comments on this? Yes, Board Member Costa.
Thank you. Thanks for noticing my physical hand up. I couldn't find the raise hand button at the moment, but I see it now. I just, for the new people who have just joined us, just wanted to say that in this holiday time, and as people are interacting so much and we're seeing the case levels rise, at least for the next 30 days, it seems that it would be the safest to have our meetings remain virtual, and then in the new year to come back to in-person meetings when we're ready and if the case levels are good again. But for the holiday in the next 30-day period, it seems like it's the safest to remain with Zoom.
Very good. Vice Chair Druker?
Yeah, so we're going to have a special meeting on January 12th then?
That's correct. So that would be 30 days.
Okay,
So that would be virtual on January 12th,
yes.
right? And we will reconsider this on January 12th. Perfect.
Do we need to, I guess, do we need to make some type of motion to have a special meeting on January 12th? Or did we already decide that? Forgive me if I'm forgetting.
Vice Chair Drucker, the board did already schedule that
Okay.
special meeting at our last board meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, Board Member Sanchez?
Yes, hasn't the state law allowing remote meetings, doesn't that phase out in, what is it, the end of January, the beginning of February?
It would be late if the governor decides to proceed with the emergency declaration to cease to exist. That would be towards the late February. I believe there is a separate Brown Act provision, which I will be training the board in January, and that's in addition to, not taking the place of the current format that we're doing right now.
Right, I had understood that there was potential pending legislation that, you know, at this point, there's a definite sunset going on, but that could change. So I was just wondering what the status was at this point. We are able to meet January 12th, the special meeting. Beyond that, I guess it's we'll have to check with the legislation.
Actually, that our ability to meet remotely stands until late February.
Okay.
And we do have a regular meeting January 26th.
Will that be remotely or would that be in person?
We would have to decide that on the 12th.
Okay.
Every 30 days. So we're shooting for the special meeting on the 12th would probably just be a very, very short remote meeting to discuss the COVID emergency situation. So I would second the motion for approval to go ahead and meet remotely for the January 12th meeting. And we can call for the vote.
Member Marosco,
Aye.
Member Sanchez,
Yes.
Member Musgrove,
Musgrove, yes.
Member Green,
Aye.
Member Acosta,
Yes.
Vice Chair Drucker,
Yes.
Chair Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries.
It's at 2:00.
And that's at 2:00 as well. Yes. And I did want to remind everyone that we're still, our physical place has been decided that it will be San Marcos, but we also talked about having our chief executive officer take a look at Oceanside as well to see if that might be a little bit more in between the cities. And so they're still working on that to see if all the logistics work out. So that should be, we'll have that answer probably by January. So that should work out good.
Happy to have you all.
Okay, so we have board member requests for future agenda items. I'm wondering from the discussion today, if we should put something on there about our solar customers and what our policy will be at some point. Doesn't have to be in January, but seems to me we might want to clarify our solar policy.
Thank you, Chair Becker. Yes, we'll put something on our forecast for the coming year since the NEM 3.0 isn't effective until likely a year. We have some time to look at what the options are and for the board to consider what makes good policy and what's good for our customers for Clean Energy Alliance with regards to its net energy metering program. So we will put that on our agenda forecast.
Okay, and then I had one other thought when now we've got, it looks like we're going to have about 14 members on our Citizens Advisory Commission. And I'd be curious to talk to the chair, Dwight Warden, to see how he feels about that. But I'm just wondering if maybe we should from now on start doing just a primary and an alternate as people rotate off their third year and their 2-year or something like that, so that it's not so large and we can just have that maybe as an agenda item. I don't know if anybody else is interested in that. It just seems like a very large 14-member board with a chair, but Vice Chair Drucker.
Yeah, let's chat about that sometime next year in terms of the makeup of that. We may also want to have two members or 2 alternates beyond that, so that it is no longer, so there's a chair and vice chair that is made up of a board member, so that we do have some turnover, some ability to have somebody else get involved in that also. It isn't just one alternate member at this point or one member of the board. The other thing is, when do we set rates, Barbara?
Our rates will come before the board January 26th. So we will be having briefings with the board between now and then a presentation with regards to that at the 26th. It will be a noticed public hearing.
Right. The other thing is, at some point, you may want to go out to the various city councils that are not, currently, they're not currently getting the power from us, but to talk about what those rates would look like and rates look like. So Vista, Oceanside, San Marcos, and Escondido could see what those are, especially Vista and Oceanside, because they're not going to be on until 2024. So sometime in 2023 to talk to them about that.
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair. We typically do go to the city councils and provide an update once we've have adopted our rates, to give an update on how we're comparing to SDG&E, and also update on what's happening with Clean Energy Alliance. So we will have that on our radar. I also want to, in light of your comments with regards to the Community Advisory Committee, at our January 26th meeting is there will be an agenda item for the board to consider the Community Advisory Committee meeting schedule and work plan for 2023. So that will be on the agenda coming up for the board.
Very good. All right, Board Member Acosta.
Thank you, Chair Becker. First, I wanted to thank Ms. Boswell for doing the council presentations. She has been doing great outreach to the city councils here, not just the new folks that have joined us, but she came to Carlsbad and spoke and presented to us as well. So I know whenever there's something timely and important, she comes out. So thank you for doing that. And on the earlier topic of NEM, we talked about rates and we talked about some of the policy, but I also wanted to incorporate into the discussion outreach. I do think that it's something that we should talk about with our customers, remind them, even our current customers. I'm not sure what kind of budget we have for this. It's just my feedback, my thought as somebody who does a lot of outreach in my professional life as well, and that we should remind them that they are in a good place with us, and remind them that we have be better rates and that we are doing a great job for them. So even though they're our current customers and they didn't opt out, we should, I believe that we should also remind them that we are a great place to be. And then lastly, I wanted to say that our council has not allocated its regional positions yet. We are doing that in January. We do that on January 10th. So I don't know if I'll be back. I hope so. I've put in a good word saying I want to stay here. But if I'm not here, there won't be much of a transition for me to come and let you know that I'm no longer a representative. So because we meet on January 12th and our regional assignments happen at our council meeting on January 10th. So I just want to let you know what a pleasure it is serving with you for this great organization and working with Ms. Boswell, Mr. Tosdahl, Ms. Canless, and all of the great folks who contribute to the efforts of the CEA. It really is something I care a lot about, and I'm proud to be part of this organization. I hope I do get to stay.
Thank you so much. We hope you stay too. So that brings me to a question I'd like to ask our general counsel is, would we be allowed at a special board meeting to talk about the new chair and vice chair? I think everyone by the 12th will have their committee assignments. So would that be at the special board meeting, or is that not allowed? Do we have to wait till January 26th?
You don't have to wait. If you want it to be on the 12th, we could certainly include that in the agenda, but I have not conferred with Ms. Boswell and how big that agenda is going to be. My understanding, it was limited for the purposes of extending the COVID, but as with any special meetings, all it requires is just 24 hours notice. So if we do have the information on our member agencies and we know who's going to be the representative by the 12th, we can certainly post that accordingly.
Okay, I think that might be a great idea. So, okay, maybe we'll get more attendance at that special meeting then that way. All right, any other comments, questions? Happy holidays to everybody, and I hope you eat well and enjoy family and do all those good things, and we will meet again after the new year.
We will all see each other, everybody next year.
Yes, we will.
Thanks.
Stay
Thank you.
well.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
being
Chair
our first
Becker.
meeting.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.